So thanks everybody for joining this webinar today. So I'm Thomas. I'm the co-founder of WeChat. We are specializing in helping foreign companies enter the Chinese market via WeChat. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. The format of this webinar is meant to be fairly informal for those of whom who've seen me speaking face-to-face, either in China or abroad, know that is kind of my style. So if you want to interrupt me with questions, I use the Q&A feature of the webinar. I'm trying to make this practical, so it will be a lot of practical things about getting started in China via WeChat, a few case studies at the end. And I want this webinar to be fairly accessible to anybody with any kind of level of understanding of China. So I'm going to start very, very basic. The first few slides will be about the basic features of WeChat. If that's very simple for you, bear with me, because then we'll get into more details about advertising and case studies and things which are more technical, and hopefully you will be able to find value in the webinar, no matter if you are already experienced in marketing to China, or if you are completely newcomer and you have never been doing any marketing on WeChat or in China in the past. So I get started right away, trying to define a bit what is WeChat e-commerce. So what do we talk about when we talk about WeChat e-commerce? I won't spend too much time on this type of data, but basically, you might know that people spend a lot of time on WeChat in China. About a third of their time is spent on WeChat, as far as time spent on mobile applications. And more than 50% of the time in China is spent on applications owned by the Tencent ecosystem. So it makes WeChat very good platform where to reach Chinese customers. It also means that WeChat is extremely competitive, because people really are striving to catch people's attention on WeChat. So even if WeChat is extremely prevalent, if you're marketing in China, you must be on WeChat. It's not an easy platform to market to. And there are some challenges. We'll go through them in some parts of this talk, but it's not easy to reach out to people via WeChat, although it's quite important. So WeChat is more than simply a messaging application. It contains personal messaging, which is similar to WhatsApp in the West, but it also contains much more than what you can do on WhatsApp. It has a social timeline, which is similar to the Facebook timeline. And it has one feature which is very special and very specific to China, which is the WeChat wallet. And the WeChat wallet is what you can see on the right-hand side, which enables you to do anything from mobile payments to ordering a taxi, paying for a flight ticket, for a train ticket, a hotel, and many other services. So this is the big opportunity for marketers who want to sell to China, is that through WeChat, which is basically a social network, you have access to a lot of things, from one-to-one conversation between people to a social timeline to payments, which means that in practice, you can have campaigns where you're going to have a blogger who is going to share with their followers on WeChat using the social network part of WeChat. Then a friend is going to receive it and send it to you using the messaging part of WeChat, and you're going to access the e-commerce part of WeChat and pay for something. So this kind of integrated application creates some very, very interesting opportunities in connecting all these elements in very powerful ways for marketing. So in order to market on WeChat, you need to use what we call WeChat official accounts. So WeChat official accounts are similar to Facebook pages. They are the ways brands can create some channels they can use to actually push information to their end users. And you have 4 different types of accounts: subscription accounts, service accounts, enterprise accounts, and WeChat mini programs. So I'm gonna give a very brief overview of what these accounts are about. The ones you really care about are the subscription and the service accounts. The subscription accounts are the ones which can send 1 message per day to their end users. They have quotas. Everybody can follow them, but they are not very visible. They are kind of grouped into a blue folder. I will show it later. And they are very useful if you're a media organization, because they have this ability to send daily push notifications to the users. The second type, which is interesting, is service accounts. Service accounts can send even less messages than subscription accounts, but they're actually very, very powerful because they are extremely visible. They appear like a friend on the WeChat timeline. It means that if a service account sends you a message, it's like if one of your friends sends you a message. It's extremely visible. It's also very disruptive, which means that when you're sending push notifications with a service account, you should always be very, very careful to only send very high quality content, because the unfollow rate on service accounts is very high because they are so visible. Service accounts are very good for e-commerce because they are so visible. You can use them for customer service to speak with your customers. You can send some powerful push notifications with promotions. They are excellent for this kind of really in-depth interaction with customers. So these are the 2 types of accounts which are very good for marketing: subscription and service, subscription for medias, and service accounts for more e-commerce features. There are 2 other types of accounts which I won't really deep dive into. One is called enterprise accounts. They can send a limited number of messages, but they have a lot of limitations because they are used for internal management of companies, which means that if a user follows the account, they can't see anything. You have to approve them on your side, and in order to approve them, you need to have access to their unique WeChat ID. So it can only work if you have a very, very personal relationship with the followers. So you can use that to manage people inside your company. That's the main target of these enterprise accounts. You can also use enterprise accounts if you're dealing with suppliers. And let's say you're doing B2B and you have 100 suppliers in China. This could be managed through enterprise accounts because these have no limitations in terms of payment. And the last type is WeChat mini programs. And WeChat mini programs are a new feature from Tencent. They are kind of supposed to be apps within the app, but so far they have not proved very useful because they are mostly used for offline applications, as they cannot send push notifications to users. So Tencent is still making them evolve quite fast. But today, these mini programs are very fast from a technical perspective, but from a marketing perspective, they're kind of terrible because you can't send any push notifications to users. So this is a very, very broad overview. Just keep in mind that subscription and service accounts are the most useful for marketing. As we said before, this is a picture of these subscription and service accounts. The service accounts you can see here, Purple Bamboo and Empower Charities, appear just like friends, and the subscription accounts appear in this blue folder. So they all stack together. And if I open this blue folder, I will be able to see all this information from all the list of all the subscription accounts I'm subscribed to. I got a few questions asked, so I'm just going to address them. Will you upload this webinar to YouTube? Yes, I will send it out to all the attendees, so you will be able to watch it later. There is no problem with that. Moving forward with this, so yeah, so these are the 2 types of WeChat official accounts which can be used for marketing, subscription, and service. These are the public accounts. So once you open them, you get to this kind of conversational interface, which is similar to if you speak with a friend. And at the bottom of these accounts, you can have links linking to a blog or linking to an e-commerce website. And on the screenshot you see right now, you can see WeChat public account, which if you open it could lead you to an e-commerce website. And on the right-hand side, this is a classic WeChat e-commerce where people can browse through products and purchase products. So this is a classic conversion path. People are gonna follow a subscription account or very often a service account. They're gonna receive message from the account. And as they receive message, they will click on the bottom menu of the account and they will access some kind of e-commerce where they will be able to browse through some products. That's it. So moving forward, so this was a very, very broad overview of what's going on with WeChat e-commerce. Now I would like to talk a bit about cross-border WeChat e-commerce. So cross-border has been growing extremely fast over the last few years in China. It's been growing at a 60% rate, and it's expected to keep growing at such a rate for the years to come. So it's definitely let's say the rising force of e-commerce in China. E-commerce in China is growing fast, but cross-border e-commerce is growing 3 or 4 times faster than the overall e-commerce market in China in terms of growth rate. So it's a quite impressive opportunity today to tackle this cross-border e-commerce. An interesting statistic is that if you speak with Chinese customers, a lot of Chinese customers actually appreciate the ability to directly purchase from foreign websites. So that's quite surprising, I think, for a lot of us, because if you know a bit about Chinese e-commerce, you know that a lot of the Chinese e-commerce is going through platforms like Taobao, Tmall, or Jingdong, which are kind of dominating the e-commerce space. But more and more, and especially as WeChat is rising, people are appreciating the fact of buying things directly from the foreign websites of a supplier. Because if they buy something on Jingdong or Tmall, even if it's Jingdong cross-border or Tmall cross-border, there will always be a concern as to, is this product really coming from overseas? Is it really coming from a foreign supplier, or is it actually manufactured in China? And actually, with some of our customers, sometimes the customers would ask the people to put a newspaper or the same day inside the package. So for instance, if it's a product shipped from Paris, they would want to get a newspaper from Paris put inside the package so that they can have a guarantee that this product has really been freshly shipped from Paris and just arrived to China. So there is this kind of strong interest from customers to get the real deal in terms of quality and in terms of authenticity. And this is especially true for certain categories like cosmetics, everything which is linked with health and wellness. If you look at where people are buying cross-border, it's mostly today in tier 1 cities. So tier 1 cities are the largest cities in China, like Beijing, Shanghai, Chongqing. Tier 4 is still pretty strong, but it's only 16% of people who are buying cross-border in these smaller cities against about a fourth of the population in tier 1 cities. The way people buy cross-border, depending on the city, is also different. So on larger cities, people are focusing more on healthcare. And as you move to smaller cities, it goes to luxury and then apparel. So different consumptions behavior on the cross-border e-commerce side, depending on the size of the cities. So this is the rise of this big trend of cross-border e-commerce. And in parallel to that, there is another big trend, which is the rise of WeChat e-commerce. And if you look at between 2015 and the first quarter of 2016, the number of people who've been purchasing through WeChat has more than doubled. So it's a very, very fast growing trend. And this is happening through people buying from Moments, which are the WeChat timeline, through the public accounts, the way we described it, through JD.com. So JD.com is a big retailer which has an integration on WeChat, or via links to other applications, which is happening through WeChat. And this is kind of the last stroke of a demonstration, which shows that people, we said, really want to buy directly from the original supplier of the product or from overseas. They want to buy cross-border, and they also buy more and more on WeChat. And if you look at the intersection of these three trends, it means there is a very large opportunity for foreign retailers to directly reach out to customers via WeChat and give them access to premium quality products directly shipped from abroad and sold via WeChat. And we're gonna look into this webinar, how to do this from a practical standpoint. Moments is the equivalent of the timeline. So this Moments is, I see people asking that in the Q&A, is the equivalent of the Facebook timeline. So this is a part of WeChat, which is the social part, as opposed to the one which is more the messaging part, which is alike to WhatsApp. And Gloria is asking, how does one increase number of followers on WeChat? Later in this webinar, I will talk about ads and KOL. So this is coming. So we talked about the opportunity. Now let's get into practical aspect of how to get started on WeChat. And the first thing we're going to talk about is account creation. So in order to get started marketing on WeChat, you need to have these accounts we talked about a bit earlier. So for foreign companies to set up an account on WeChat is actually not very simple. If you go on the English-speaking backend of WeChat, which is something like admin.wechat.com, you will be invited to create a WeChat official account. So these kind of pages that we talked about, but you should not do that. If you want to target Chinese customers, don't use the English backend of WeChat, because this backend enables to create accounts which are not visible from China. Because for political reasons, Tencent is separating the China and the rest of the world, so that if somebody creates an account outside China, the content is not visible from inside China. So you should be very careful with that. Don't use the default backend, English-speaking backend of WeChat. So now we're going to talk about, if you want to reach Chinese customers, how to create, as a foreign company, an account which is visible from mainland China. So one solution is to set up a company in China, of course. But this is quite costly. It will be at least 20,000 USD, most likely more than that if you want to liberate capital. It will take usually 6 months to a year, and it's very costly in terms of time and effort. So this is usually not the way our clients and the people we work with choose. Another way is to apply to Tencent through a special oversea WeChat Accounts program. So there is a way to get, with your foreign business license, an account which would be visible from mainland China, but it's a longer process, which usually takes up to 2 months. And you need to get approval from Tencent, who is checking whether or not you want to do legit business with China. So if you already have a website which is selling products, it's possible to set up this type of accounts. It's also limited to certain industries and countries. So for instance, if you're in the financial industry, it will be difficult to do this. But if you're selling cosmetics, fashion, then it will not be a problem. It's also limited to countries which usually do business with China, have large cross-border transactions. So countries like US, UK, France, Japan will be able to, Australia, will all be able to create these accounts. And it's a lengthy process, but I would say that's the best way to create a WeChat account for foreign businesses. And another way you can choose is to use a third-party business license. So basically asking a Chinese company to use their business license to create your account. And this is quite fast, but of course there is a bit of a risk because it means that at least for a while, this company will have ownership of your followers. And even if you have a contract with this company, you don't have complete control over what's happening. So it's a good temporary solution, I would say. It's great for testing. And since a few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, it's now possible to transfer followers from one account to the other. So it means you can start with this third option, and then later, once you successfully validated the market, you can migrate all of your followers to a new account that you would create with the companies that you would create later on. So you can start with option 3, and when you see the market works, you create your company in China, and then you you transfer your followers from this third-party account to your actual company account. So moving forward, so this is about account creation. So what about payments? How do you collect payments from Chinese customers if you don't have a presence in China? So fortunately, Tencent, which is a company which is actually owns WeChat, is a group which is above WeChat, set up solutions for that called WeChat Payment Cross-Border. So it means that when a Chinese customer purchases an item from your website using WeChat cross-border payments, you can automatically get the money transferred overseas in a variety of currencies. So you can see support USD, Euros, Japanese Yen, British Pounds, AUD, Singapore dollars, HKD, and Korean Won. Tencent would usually take a cut out of this, which usually would range between 2 and 3%. And Alipay, which is a competitor to WeChat, which is a solution from Alibaba, the largest marketplace in China, also has a similar solution, which has very similar terms, also charges about 3%. And usually you would set up both of these accounts because WeChat payment only works inside WeChat, while Alipay cross-border works everywhere except inside WeChat because the two companies are competing and WeChat blocked Alipay. So if you have these two solutions, which are kind of the equivalent of PayPal in China, you will be able to collect money from any Chinese customer, and as you collect the money, it will automatically be transferred to an overseas account. Moving forward. Sorry, I'm just discovering at the same time this. So I see some questions in the chat. If you can use the answer, the Q&A feature to ask questions is better because then I get notifications and I can answer right away. I'm seeing the questions right now in the chat, so I will answer them. There are maximum amounts for transactions, but they are not linked with WeChat payment or Alipay. They are linked with the bank. So each bank might have limitations on a daily or on a per transaction basis for online transactions, and these limitations usually range from 10,000 RMB to 100,000 RMB for one transaction happening online. And so this is not a WeChat payment limitation. It will depend on the limitations of the banks, and it will depend on which bank the customers are using. In terms of delay for the money to be available, if you're purchasing from Alipay or WeChat payment cross-border, it's not really about time. Usually there is a settlement amount, which is for both of them 5,000 USD. So once you get to 5,000 USD of sales, you will get the money transferred to your overseas account. So moving forward, so this was the big terms of Alipay and WeChat payment. it actually takes a lot of time to set up a cross-border account directly with Alipay and Tencent. So you have a bunch of payment intermediaries who have been appearing. So these are representatives of Tencent or Alibaba in various countries, and they can help you actually collect the money for you, basically. So you have this representative in New Zealand, in Australia, in US, in Europe, and they are very, very useful in order to be able to create your cross-border account faster. So usually creating an account with these payment intermediaries would take usually a couple of weeks. And they are also quite good in terms of sometimes getting better terms. So for instance, you would get a lower settlement amount if you go through this kind of intermediaries. Usually it can go down to $500. So it means that after you get to $500 of sales, the money would be transferred to your account. Yeah, so I'm going through the questions which have been asked. So for the third-party transfer limit, I talked earlier about transferring followers to WeChat accounts. It's true that you can only transfer followers from one account to another if the new account has less than 1,000 followers. So this is to avoid kind of followers traffic, and it means that it's mostly used for new accounts. So if it's a brand new account, then it won't be a problem. But you can transfer more than 1,000 followers in total. It's just that the new account should have less than 1,000 followers. So the old account could have 50,000 followers, but the new one has 0, and you're gonna transfer all the old followers to the new account. Sorry, I'm also getting kind of new with this software, so figure out how to use it. So for cross-border payments, the intermediary fund holders can change depending on the countries. There are various companies in different countries. And if you don't reach the settlement amount of 5,000 USD, usually all of these payment providers will be able to transfer the money to your account. You will just pay a few bucks of a transfer fee. So if you only get, let's say, to 3,000 USD, it's not like the money is stuck if you don't reach the settlement amount, but you will have to pay a small additional fee for the transfer. So it's not such a big concern, actually, if you're planning to keep using the system and you don't run the risk of actually losing your money. And if you go through this cross-border payment accounts, the cross-border payment accounts are always attached to the name of the foreign business. So you don't need to have any Chinese asset when you do the cross-border payments. And if you, even if you choose to have your WeChat official account created with a third-party business license, the payment is completely separate, and the payment will always be only attached to your overseas business. So even, let's say the WeChat official account is just the marketing side of things, and the WeChat official account can be attached either to your overseas account or to a local partner, but the payment will always be attached to your overseas company. Get another question from Wenchong. Will your company be able to help us to set up a public account? Yes, we can help that. Help with that. And for our company to set up accounts with overseas business licenses, we charge 1,000 USD of application fee, and Tencent charges 300 USD additional. Yeah, sorry for this, sounds a bit messy, but basically I'm trying to go through all the questions which are appearing on the chat. Now I will move forward with the presentation. So, and feel free to keep asking questions. I will stop each few slides to answer them. I was saying these payment intermediaries are very useful to save time, create accounts quickly, and get better payment terms. If you're interested in this, you can reach out to us and we can connect you to the right intermediaries for your geography. Logistics and taxes, that's actually not my domain of expertise. We are really specialized more into the e-commerce marketing payment side, but just want to give you a bit of feedback from what our clients are doing. A lot of our clients are going through direct shipping for the products, which enables them to basically avoid any kind of forex fluctuations, have very low upfront investment. Of course, it's more of a challenge for product returns and for shipping costs, and it takes a bit more time. A lot of our clients are choosing to go through Hong Kong for shipping, which actually helps to alleviate some of this problem. It's still considered a cross-border transaction, but this way they avoid a lot of the time necessary for the shipping, and they also make returns much more manageable. And if you are interested in looking a bit closer into these shipping topics, there are a bunch of companies which can help either handle or facilitate a relationship with these kind of suppliers and who are quite specialized in this kind of cross-border shipping. So once again, same as for payment intermediaries, you can reach out to us with your specific country, and we can help you connect with a few partners because these are very often local markets. We're going to have companies which are more specialized in US shipping, in Australia, France, and a bunch of other partners locally. So we talked now about generating an account, we talked about generating payment, and we talked a bit about logistics. What I would like to speak about now is how to generate traffic for your WeChat account. So let me just quickly check on the questions. I think we're good. I see. What is the best way to drive traffic to WeChat? So there are a few ways of advertising on WeChat. So the most high-level one, the most famous one, is called WeChat Moments ads, which appear a bit like Facebook ads on the social timeline. So they are quite visible. They are not very good in terms of conversion rate because they are quite monitored by WeChat. And you have some options for targeting on this kind of ads, such as location, gender and age, mobile phone they're using, whether they're single, married, newly married, education, some broad interest topics, and their behavior on WeChat. So that's actually the most interesting piece of targeting for WeChat advertising, which is, for instance, have they been purchasing on WeChat? Have they been using coupon? And are they following your accounts? So you can do some kind of retargeting. That being said, these ads are not nearly as sophisticated as what you're going to see on platforms which are more mature, like Facebook. So, I mean, they can be used for branding, let's say. But if you're really going for very, very high conversion rates and really high return on investment on your ads, moments ads, this kind of timeline ads are not the right way to go, unfortunately. So I'm still going through the question, and yes, you can get the PPT after the webinar, so you don't need to take screenshots. Ethan is asking, sorry, I'm just trying to, okay, interesting. So yeah, so in terms of CPC, CPM for this advertising, it depends on the type of ads, and it depends on the type of cities. For what they call core cities, Beijing, Shanghai, you have 150 renminbi. Sorry, so this is, I didn't specify, but this is actually renminbi, the unit for this, so Chinese yuan. for this CPM. And as you can see, this is quite pricey in terms of CPM. So I mean, it's extremely pricey if you compare it to US standards. Yeah, so this CPM is around 20 bucks CPM for WeChat Moment ads in core cities, a bit lower if it's less targeted. And your minimum investment is going to be 50,000 RMB for foreign companies advertising through WeChat Moments. So this is an expensive form of advertising, especially you're going to have to spend at least 50,000 RMB for one campaign. So it's not going to come cheap. And usually for a foreign company which is investing on WeChat ads, Tencent would expect to have more than just 50,000 RMB of budget. So we have a partnership with Tencent to run this kind of ads, and they would be expecting a company to be investing at least 10,000 USD every couple of months to really make it an interesting client for Tencent on their side. So this is for the moment ads which appear on the social timeline. So yeah, so this is the WeChat Moments ads. You have a second type of ads, which are type of banner ads, which are appearing at the bottom of a third-party WeChat article. So you would have another account writing an article about any kind of topic, and you can actually display a banner asking to follow your company at the bottom of this article. So this is once again, you're going to have the same type of targeting. You will be able to target based on some kind of general interest of the user, gender, age, so on and so forth. And these ads are interesting because they have a very big variety of action calls. So it can be just a link to a page, but it can also be a link to follow the company, to purchase an item directly, taking people to e-commerce. It can be a coupon, or it can be a link to download a native application. In terms of price, is also much more affordable. The CPM is going to range between 25 kuais to 15 kuais. So we're talking about $2-3 in terms of CPM. This is comparable to what you might see on Western social networks like LinkedIn. So it's still pricey, but at least it's a bit more affordable. And this kind of ads also offer CPC type of advertising, so paying per click, in which case the minimum is 0.5, but usually you would pay maybe 2 kuai per 2 renminbi per click. So getting a new follower might cost you about $1, $1. This is a rough estimate, but it's much more competitive than what you would get from WeChat timeline ads. So James is asking, if you have an account, will we be seeing what our prospective customers see, if they were specifically interested in competitors, and how do we compare? It's not that accurate today. So it's actually the targeting does not enable such fine targeting in terms of interest. You could just say, if I want to target somebody, I want to sell a fashion product, I want to target people who are interested in women's fashion and let's say women's skirts or shoes or whatever, or male shirts. But you won't be able to have fine-tuned vision of I would like to have somebody interested in a specific competitor. You will just be able to choose a general category of topics. In terms of, so this was about the cost per click advertising on WeChat. Actually, I don't believe this is the best way to market on WeChat. I would say the best way to market on WeChat is to use key opinion leaders. It's much more cost efficient and it's much more long term. So key opinion leaders are usually writing something about your brand, generally in exchange for money, for like a flat fee that you pay upfront of the campaign. And it's quite efficient as a way to convert and as a way to raise brand awareness, because WeChat is a social network, right? So it's all about social connections, and you get much higher levels of engagement if you actually get to use this social link and this social support, like psychological support from the KOL, this endorsement from the KOL to justify that people should buy your brands. So from this perspective, KOL are really in line with what is WeChat in terms of an application. And we see very, very good performance from campaigns which are using KOL for marketing. It's difficult to get KOL who are not gonna require a high fee to post about your brand. Some people try to get commission-based KOL. It's possible, but it's not easy. In some domains, for instance, children books, a lot of the KOL work through commission. So it's easier for us to find KOL working for commission in these spaces. But in other domains, like for instance, fashion, which is very, very competitive, it might be difficult to find people working for KOL for commission, because then the KOL takes all the risk. And usually KOL will request a flat fee, which for a good KOL, which would get you, let's say, 30 to 70,000 views, you would have to pay somewhere around 20,000 renminbi. So this is about $3,000 US. So it's not cheap, but with KOL, you really get sales, and you really get engagement, and you really get qualified followers. So even if you have no presence in the market whatsoever, if you have a good KOL pushing your product, you should get sales right away. And this is very good in terms of really getting a track record of sales, starting to get word of mouth going, starting to get very qualified followers and immediate results. Of course, you might not completely break even on your first campaign, but at least you will see some revenues. And as you do more and more campaigns, and you get some kind of echo chamber effect, as you get more and more KOL, your return on investment on each campaign will rise as you run more and more of them. So first one, you might invest 20,000 renminbi in a KOL, and you might get 10,000 renminbi or 15,000 renminbi of sales. So definitely not break even. It will get better, better, better until the point where campaigns get profitable after maybe 3 or 4 months of marketing. And China is a competitive market. So if you're able to become profitable within a few months of investment, it's actually quite a significant achievement. So do expect to get sales right away if you do KOL. Not necessarily profit. Hopefully it will be, but it doesn't have to be. But basically to build your account to become stronger and stronger, so that within a certain number of months of investment, you can actually break even and start investing even more. So these KOL are quite interesting. How do you find them? There are a bunch of platforms who help you find this KOL. The biggest one I would recommend is called newrank.cn. It's basically a gigantic analytics platform with a list of all the KOL based on number of followers and growth trends. So very interesting to identify the right fit for your brand. I would advise to target KOLs which are somewhere between 50 to 200,000 followers, because these are people who maybe are early in their growth trend. They still did not do too much advertising, but they still have a significant audience. I will favor personal KOL rather than the ones which are completely anonymous. So if it's just a big brand with a big name, I would not go for this one. I would prefer to have a KOL which has the name of a person, with the face of a person who really put himself or herself forward. and I would do a lot of due diligence in terms of making sure the KOL is not fake, because you have a lot of fake KOLs on WeChat, which are stealing content from other key opinion leaders and who are also using robot views. So they are not always easy to detect, but really do your due diligence, because there are a lot of fake accounts, and also try to target key opinion leaders who have very large amount of views for the same number of followers. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So for instance, if I have two KOLs, both of them have 10,000 views on their article on average, but one of them has 100,000 followers and one of them has 1 million followers. I would definitely pick the one with a smaller number of followers, because if they have the same number of views, it means their levels of engagements are much higher, and this is a very good indicator of how convincing is a KOL and how likely it is that people are going to purchase. So don't get too focused on the number of followers. Sometimes a high number of followers is actually a bad thing, because it shows that number of followers is very high, the read rate is very low, so maybe you should not use this KOL to advertise. And the two other platforms that I talked about, Weishuju and WeMedia, are more brokers of KOLs. So they have some KOLs they represent, some of them they run themselves, and the quality is quite uneven. So you should be very careful if you use these platforms, and you should really do this process of due diligence we talked about, because they can have very, very low quality KOL in the mix. And the last thing is use social e-commerce to create traffic and growth. So for instance, any kind of incentives for sharing can be useful, although keep in mind that this might be frowned upon by Tencent. So sometimes WeChat can punish accounts which are doing too many incentives for sharing. But it's still a very interesting way to grow your following by this kind of by asking your followers to recommend your account to their friends in exchange for discounts. Doing some group buying deals can be very efficient in order to drive traffic. So this is not something you can do right away, because you need to have an audience to actually start this viral loop. But once you get a bit of an audience, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5,000 followers, it can be interesting to enter this kind of systems to really expand from your existing base of followers. I'm gonna just take 1 second to check if I have questions, because I do. Berta is asking, does a monthly newsletter help? Your monthly newsletter is gonna be basically the messages you send on WeChat, because they are basically people don't really read emails in China, so the newsletter is sent through WeChat push notifications. For CPC ads, do you need to invest 50,000 RMB as well? Yes, for foreign companies, this is a minimum. If you are a Chinese company, it will be different. It will be more around 2,000 RMB. But for foreign companies, the minimum is 50,000 RMB. Yeah. And Frank is asking, how and where do you find KOLs that can represent your products? That's what we discussed earlier. So I will quickly go through case studies, and then I will spend more time on Q&As. This will go quite fast. So just to give a few examples of brands which are doing a good job at cross-border. Sasa, which is one of the big Hong Kong cosmetic retail platforms, is doing a good job at doing cross-border e-commerce, especially with a lot of very local approaches like flash sales, short-term deals. And this is really the way to perform on WeChat, is to leverage the fact that WeChat is not Tmall, it's not Jingdong, it's not something where it's not a place where people are looking for something necessarily. They're just gonna have impulse behavior of buying. So you should really go for this kind of flash sales, which are gonna be triggers the kind of behavior of buying behavior which is appropriate for WeChat, which is not people are looking for something. It's people are stumbling into something on WeChat. Another interesting case is Lotte, which is using cross-border sales in a way which is kind of innovative and interesting because they actually are using cross-border to pick up items from duty-free. So people can purchase and then they can then pick up the items offline, and they basically save time. So it's quite smart in terms of leveraging cross-border on a kind of O2O application. And the last case study I want to talk about is one we conducted with a local agency in New Zealand to sell Manuka honey. And this was set up in about 4 weeks, creating an account, creating a cross-border account, starting with a KOL, and then generated about 10,000 USD of sales via this KOL. And I think it's an interesting case because basically it got started quite fast, and we could see from onboarding to sales a very, very short cycles of only a few weeks. And I think that's the big asset of WeChat cross-border e-commerce, is that you don't need to spend a lot of time in the setup. You can right away, you can go very quickly to a cycle from setup to sales. And that's, I think, the main takeaway from this talk today is WeChat is great if you want to test the market fast and get results fast. Although these results will not bring you to break even right away, but you will get some response from the market within a few weeks. And this is very quite unique in terms of entering the Chinese market. If you compare to other approaches like setting up a company or selling through Tmall cross-border, these are very long processes, and WeChat enables you to bypass this. So as a conclusion, cross-border is quite amazing. It's growing very, very fast in terms of e-commerce growth, much faster than the rest of the e-commerce market in China. WeChat is definitely the next frontier in terms of leveraging cross-border e-commerce. And a lot of the building blocks are already here for you. So you have logistic companies which are specializing in that. You have payment providers who provide cross-border payments. You can create your WeChat account. You can set up an online store via providers like WeChat or others. And you can get started quite quickly. In terms of advertising, you have CPC and CPM campaigns possible, but I would really recommend to go for KOL and some kind of customer referrals in order to get sales, because this is what's really gonna get you actual revenue inside your store. And you need to not just focus on selling, but also see how you can sell in a way which is appropriate for WeChat. And for instance, using flash sales in order to trigger this kind of fast behavior and try to go beyond simply displaying a product, but seeing how you can create excitement about your product. So flash sales or auto conversion can be a way to do that. And that's it for now. I will go through some of the questions which are still listed. For the Manuka honey business, somebody is asking, did they place banner ads? No, this was a key opinion leader campaign. It was done through a video presenting the brand. So video is a very, very hot format today in China. And if you have the resources to create videos, I would really encourage to do that because it's becoming a growing trend in terms of conception of media in China online. All the analytics converge in terms of this. Jane Wong asked, can you give us an example of SME which is doing well? This was, I think, the example of the Manuka honey. We have other clients which are doing very interesting things. For instance, we are working with a watch company called Triwa, which has been doing very successful KOL campaigns. They've been flying KOLs over to Sweden to show how they were building the watches, and led to very interesting results. Berta is asking, how can we speak personally a WeChat account? You can reach out to the email below, info@walkthechat.com, if you have questions. Can you explain the abbreviations APP and O2O. So APP is just in China, just an app. It's like on a phone. And O2O means online to offline or offline to online. It means taking customers online and then selling them things offline, like in the case of the duty free that I explained. Or it can be the other way around, having people buy in the duty free and then have them follow your WeChat account and then keep selling them things after they go back to their home country. Our overseas brand of organic skin, body, and haircare essential products in China. Yeah, these kind of organic products are very, very popular for cross-border e-commerce. Of course, you need to prove that your products are actually legit, and that's where key opinion leaders are quite essential in bringing this element of trust, because adding an organic label to a foreign product is quite easy to do, but convincing people that this label is actually legit is a whole different story. And that's where the investment in key opinion leaders can really help. Stefan is asking a very good question. Do you need plenty of content on your account before using key opinion leader? I would say not really, because people usually will not check so much the in-depth history. It's good to have a few articles. I would say at least 4 or 5, just in case people look at the description of the account and the history of posting. I think it's quite important to have a content strategy, so that once people follow your account, they are engaged on a regular basis. So you don't need to have published 50 articles in the past, but you need to have an idea of what are you going to post in the future on this account, so that if people follow your account today, you're sure that by next week they're going to receive something, so that they stay engaged and they don't put your account aside and forget about it. Carlin Graf is asking how to gain followers on WeChat when your brand is not known yet in China. Yeah, as I said, key opinion leaders are usually the way to do that. And when you do a KOL campaign, a key opinion leader campaign, usually you're not taking people directly to your store. You're taking people to your WeChat official account so you can gain followers. And then maybe they will write something to the account in order to get a special discount or access a special flash sale. So this way you're winning on 2 sides. You're getting people to follow your account, so you're building a long-term asset, and you're also trying to convert people immediately and generate short-term revenue. So that can be the most efficient way to have key opinion leaders campaigns, which are not just about instantaneity. It's not just about what you get right now. It's also building something which you're going to leverage on the very, very long term. Do you know Parkloop KOL platform? Is it as performant as NewRank? So actually, it's interesting you're asking about Parkloop. I know Parkloop and I know their founder, Kim. I'm going to record a podcast with her tonight about KOL in China. I think that they might not have all the data NewRank has. I'm not sure, actually. I know that what's interesting with them is that they're not just looking at WeChat, they're looking at other elements of like Weibo and other social applications, which can be interesting. And I think they're good if you want to really make a splash. They're really good at making these kind of big campaigns with multiple KOLs. And they can help you not just in terms of providing a tool, but also actually running the campaigns and providing some kind of consulting on how to make these campaigns happen. So we have some of our clients work with them and are quite satisfied. So I would say I can recommend them if you have enough budget to actually do these kind of large campaigns. Is it better not to have too many products in the WeChat shop? I actually agree that it's good to have a small number of products to be quite focused, but it's not necessarily a rule. Some of our clients have 800 products on their shop and still are selling quite well. I think it's important that you're putting a small number of products forward, because people usually will not really browse too much on a WeChat shop. They will go for the most obvious products. So yeah, so I would really recommend to, even if you can have a lot of products stored on the shop, at least focus on the best sellers and put them forward. It does not matter how much you have in your database. You can have a search feature to find more, but on your homepage, you should focus on maybe 5 to, I would say, at most 20 products you really want to put forward. Do you have any WeChat European agency to suggest me? You can reach out to us directly. We are actually helping a bunch of European customers in Germany, Holland, France, and more. Please share how your company can help us and cost as well. This you can find on our website. I don't want this webinar to be too promotional, so I won't get into too much details in that. But you can check WeChat.com and you will see the list of our services. And I think I'm pretty much through most of the questions here. Well, when somebody is buying a product from a cross-border shop, who is doing the custom clearance of the product? This depends. You can do this on your side, and a lot of our clients would work with logisticians. So that's the kind of logistics companies I've been talking about, who can help with doing the custom clearance and paying for the tax fees. Are digital downloads and content selling on WeChat? That's not very easy because of especially Apple Store regulations. Should the foreign company create both a service and a subscription account? I would say that usually you should pick between one of the two. I would recommend subscription account only if you are really about sending media content, if you're a newspaper. Otherwise, service account is more visible and has more features. And I would say having both accounts can be confusing for the end user. So I would not recommend to have both. I would recommend to pick, and most of the time you will want to pick a service account. And I think that's about it. So what time is it? It's already 5 p.m. So we've been going for an hour, and I think I will wrap it up for today. If you have any other questions that I did not answer, and because I have like 37 questions on the screen and I think I missed some of them, feel free to drop me an email on info@walkthechat.com or thomas.grazini@walkthechat.com. And I will send it in the chat group. And yeah, that's pretty much it. A few things maybe before I let you go. So it was the first time I used this software for this webinar. So if you have feedback on that, happy to hear about it. If you have feedback on the format in general, go ahead. Just tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. I will be running more of these webinars, some similar to this one and some on different topics over the next few months. So if you have any suggestion in terms of how to improve it, I would really love to hear it, and feel free to be very direct. I don't get offended very easily. So let me know what you liked and what you didn't like. That's it for today. So if more questions, please send it via email or via WeChat. I'd be super happy to answer. And thanks a lot for listening and for bearing with my French accent for a whole hour. I really appreciate it. And have a great day or a great evening, wherever you are in the world.